We celebrated my daughter's 25th birthday, a full anniversary, in a surprising way. I also had fun and had a great time with the young people. There were many guests, but since they were all family people and had children, none of them could stay until Poznan. In this case, shouldn't I stay at least a little to help my daughter with the cleaning chores and not disturb her until she finds out her own birthday? We stayed in the kitchen with him, continuing to drink and casually chatting about everything around us as we were quite annoyed. We moved on to the most pressing topic of discussing men, and that day the main topic of conversation was my daughter's husband. Ivan was also quite drunk. He couldn't help his wife much even if he was sober. He is such a successful person. He is a businessman with his head on his shoulders, but when it comes to cleaning and helping with the housework, this has nothing to do with him. He did not allow his wife to work, believing wholeheartedly that women's place is in business life. Kitchen and a man must earn money. It was absolutely impossible to see him washing dishes or mopping dust. At one point Katka got completely drunk and broke down. It was clear that her husband restricted her in many ways, but he also allowed her many things. For example, he did not ask her to cook new original dishes every day, demanded that the house be completely clean, and ignored most of her hobbies, while often spoiling her and giving her expensive gifts. My stupid daughter apparently didn't realize how lucky she was with her husband and how awful her life was. In fact, perhaps the men were under the influence of drink. They loosened the girl's tongue to discuss her husband's qualities and shortcomings in bed. Apparently Katka had forgotten that she was talking not to her friend, but to her own mother. She did not look. She stared at me for a long time, her dull gaze fixed on the table. Do you know? This is also annoying. He constantly wants everything from me, morning and evening, at home, in bed, in the bathroom, and in general everywhere. And I even kept silent most of the time. I didn't know how to answer such frankness to my daughter. But she herself got out of this awkward situation. Katya literally got up from where I was sitting, went to the toilet, and from there, shaking, I entered the bedroom. Yes, I left without saying goodbye. I thought and looked at the time. I decided to stay here for the night so as not to spend money on a taxi, but on the way to the second room, which was supposed to be free, I saw Ivan. Although I didn't plan on sleeping there with copious amounts of alcohol unless I intended to interfere, no, I asked to sit. I sat at the other end of the sofa where the man was. He was fascinated by watching a stupid movie, or rather, he stared at the screen without blinking. I wasn't even sure he understood the gist of it. I'll be honest, after what my daughter said, I looked at my son-in-law with a completely new eye. Of course, before he was attractive to me as a man, but now in a drunken state many thoughts began to creep into my head about how he should be in all kinds of bed. Ivan was a big man, worthy of his name. And now it turns out that his soul must match his heroic physique. To sit down for 5, I turned my gaze to the television screen and my eyes rose to my forehead in surprise. My son-in-law was watching a very frank movie about love. It was very strange to watch such a movie with my own son-in-law. It was unclear how I would behave in this situation, whether I should pay no attention to my son-in-law or whether I should say something and calm the situation down. Just because of that, and that's why I decided to keep quiet, but at that time I was still fine. I was releasing alcohol and it became unbearable for me. Holding it behind my teeth, I see you liked the movie. With a smile I said yes, nothing special, but at least it's nice. I will admire women. The man was clearly unhappy with something. What's the matter, Van, and how can I explain it to you so as not to offend Katya, me, or us? It's weird for both of them. Katya is very beautiful. Yes, and you're just a handsome man. Of course, thank you, but apparently we don't fit together. We just don't fit together by nature. To put it bluntly, he is small, that is, compared to you. I definitely stood there. I realized that I talked a lot when I was drunk, but it was no use. the son-in-law answered, "That's all bad, yes, so much so that my mother-in-law and I are discussing problems with my wife. No, we are adults. I understand you. The truth, of course, I have never experienced such problems." Oh, I laughed. It means you are unlikely to understand us. Let's finish this conversation. Ivan turned to the screen again. Something flashed in me and I said, "It means you can look at all kinds of things in front of me, but you are ashamed to discuss the problem that has arisen." "You are joking." "I am not ashamed of anything. It's just somehow strange to talk to you about such a topic." "You tried some ways." "Of course they tried. Who are you taking me to? If you saw everything you need, you would definitely have no unnecessary questions." "Then show me your problem, or am I still embarrassed?" "Yes, please." My son-in-law fulfilled his promise immediately. He leaned back drunkenly. He looked at me with his gaze, but our eyes did not meet. My attention was focused elsewhere, and for a moment I couldn't sit still. I wanted to bring him closer to her. I was convinced that I wasn't surprised. "I hope you're not cheating on my daughter with other girls." "You're just kidding. I love her, yes, and even though I want to change, I can't." "Where can I find someone like that?" "You just need someone to raise her." "Yes, I am not familiar with such people, or rather someone there. But approaching him may have some consequences." "I'm sure." "No, of course. You should try." "Right, I will try." We both understood who we were talking about and were waiting which of us would take the first step, which meant that I had to support him. I slowly started unbuttoning my blouse, and when the man saw that it was us, he sat closer to me on the same wavelength. Time has passed. I don't know everything, but it was already light outside the window when the man went to see my sleeping daughter. In the morning I was in seventh heaven. When everyone was asleep, Vanya and I were literally glowing with happiness, and Katya, on the contrary, was sick with a hangover and looked shriveled. I did not bother them with her presence and hurried to go home. "Come visit us more often," my daughter told me. "Thank you." "Yes, by the way, you should stop by." "Van, can you help me assemble the nightstand? Or I bought it a week ago and it's still in the box." "No questions, I can stop by tonight." The groom replied. "Like it and subscribe to the channel."